than the dark matter thing, and no one's even like concerned or anything about it. I mean, there's a few fringe people, but
No one's concerned
Yeah.
about dark matter being questioned.
No, he's saying that one of the
they're
most
not
recent
concerned about the
observations.
prediction, Mon's prediction being better than dark matter's prediction.
Dark matter
Yeah.
could go away tomorrow. It's not. That's not a hill we're
No,
going
it's
to die
literally
on, is it?
it's
Or is it?
literally required for the current model of gravity.
Wait, I don't know if it is, but
It
even if
is.
it
That's what
is,
Mond is modified Newtonian dynamics. It's a
okay.
new theory of gravity because that doesn't need dark matter because the current version of gravity quite literally requires dark matter.
So, uh, yeah, okay. So, what I want to know is
But can you
when we're
engage
talking
with
about
that
the
in good faith, bro? Okay, like
yeah,
because like
of course,
you
of
see
course, but
correlation
we get
for
into these
having.
topics instead of talking about the shape of the Earth.
But understand the relevance, right? The meta point being made, which is when you're trying to pull out of us like these baseless speculative assumptions, and we're telling you, no, we're not going to do that. We can't verify it, and you get frustrated. Well, this is a perfect example of why. You're not even fully aware of the implications of one of those belief systems you have, like the current version of gravity, right? You have to
You're
believe in
doing
invisible material. And
you're
so much
doing
so
it
that
again.
80 no, you have to understand the point. That's the
You're
problem.
making a point that's invalid.
Engage with the bigger point being made, which is that that is the problem with making baseless assertions, right? Is that since you don't have evidence for it, it's unfalsifiable and it just requires you further compounding on top of those claims with more and more baseless claims. That isn't science. That's effectively a religion.
Okay, Austin, if you mute me, I take my headphones out of my ears and I stop listening.
Good for you.
Don't
Then
mute me.
go away then, dude.
Don't
I
mute
didn't
me
mute
in
anybody.
the conversation. Okay?
Then don't overtalk.
Here, dude.
Yo, there's a reason why we mute here. It's because it gets the audio chaos when someone is interrupting
Okay, but
incessantly.
I
So
shouldn't.
when there's one, see how you're doing it to me right now? Like I'm trying to speak and you're interrupting me. What we do is we wait one person speaks, then the other one goes. That's how it goes here. If you're not happy
Okay,
with that, I'm sorry.
no problem, no problem. It's the monologuing. Okay. Here's the thing: as soon as we start talking about the shape of the Earth, you want to talk about dark matter. Why?
Sounds like there's a disparity between the gravity that
He
we
was
observe
addressing something
the
that was
laws
brought
on
up
the
by
Earth.
Jeremy. What do you mean,
Or,
why?
can you hear me? Real quick, it sounds like if gravity doesn't work at the galactic scale, we have to then discount it for the local scale. Is that what we're saying? What's it?
The theory for it, if you want it to encompass the entire universe, unless
Well,
you
yeah,
want to
Yeah,
have
because
gravity
different gravity.
doesn't get to
I
gravity
don't
doesn't
think
if
that
gravity's true,
because
it's true. If gravity's true, it's true everywhere. It doesn't get to pick and choose where you want to pretend it's there.
right. Well, that's why they have laws. The law of gravity says how it works on a local scale, what we can see, what we can test for. We see that gravity not working at the galactic scale. So then they make up, as your words, they make up some other force caused by some other thing that they can call some matter or antimatter, dark energy, dark matter, whatever, and that explains it and that fills the gaps because they give it some value, and it seems to work out at the galactic scale from our vantage point, our observation point. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that gravity can't be real at a local scale. It just means it doesn't work galactically. Just like things in quantum mechanics don't work in the larger scale world. It's a whole different set of laws. I mean, is that too much of a stretch to accept that? I mean, in good faith, as you say.
Yes, because if gravity's true,
Um,
it's going to be true everywhere.
So your son's
yeah,
not in good
laws.
faith.
I'd hate to quote Andrea Ghez, the 2020 Nobel Physics Prize winner, but I'm going to anyways. Laws should apply everywhere. Everywhere.
Well, that's taken out a little out of context. Like I said, the quantum
No, it's
mechanics,
not.
quantum mechanics.
Right after that, she said we can rule out Newton's law of gravity because of
Okay,
what she said.
so you think that everything we understand in Newtonian physics is undermined by what happens or doesn't happen in quantum mechanics because they're disparate laws and observations.
Because of the claims you guys have made, a lot of Newtonian mechanics have gone out the window. Like when you drop something, you have mass accelerating. You guys have no force there with Einstein, but Newton said there's going to be a force there. It's the law of non-contradiction. It can't be both.
No, Newton didn't understand where the force came from. He just knew that for something to accelerate, it had to have a force. So he was perplexed by that. His writings also validate that point as well. I mean, come
Dude,
on.
it's a law. F
You want to
equals
talk
ma,
in good
dude.
faith. Why can't we just
It's a
agree
law.
that
F equals ma. Who's talking about he didn't understand what, bro?
yes, he had a law called F equals ma. That law still reigns true today.
No, it
Had.
doesn't.
No, had
understand-
was the correct phraseology.
But the reality was he didn't understand how something could accelerate without a force.
That law's been debunked.
How's it been debunked?
Galaxy rotational speeds.
Yeah, at the galactic scales. I agree. So
You don't get to pick and
I'm wondering
choose.
why the aversion to saying that some law that works on a local scale can't work on a galactic scale or a grander scale, just like quantum mechanics and Newtonian mechanics. They're completely disparate.
Yeah, because that means it's wrong, right? Because physics scales, right? The
No, it
principle
doesn't
of density, a verifiable principle of physics, density and buoyancy, that scales. It doesn't matter what scale you're on, right? That it holds true because it's actually correct,
That's not true.
right?
That's not true at all. Witsit, in aerodynamics, we use wind tunnels. And in wind tunnels, does it scale or not scale?
What?
You know what I'm saying. I'm going to call you your bluff here.
This is the first
If
scale retarded as
if I'm an aeronautical engineer, I'm a third year student, and I'm in the lab and over at NASA at the wind tunnels, and I'm doing tests, or I'm back in 1902, 1901 with the Wright brothers, and I have a makeshift wind tunnel. Does it scale? Do the principles work in
Well, yeah,
scale?
why would they not? Why would they
They
not?
do. Now, does that work in all areas of physics? Does everything scale?
Well, I mean, yeah, any true physics
No,
scales.
it doesn't.
Yeah, name, give one example.
No, yeah, it's going down the spoiler with you.
Yeah,
I
you
thought
can't name one
it's over.
example.
I
You
can't.
can't
I
name
can't.
one example.
I'm not gonna. No,
Bro,
I'm not.
Andrea
Anymore.
Ghez, the Nobel Physics Prize winner, told us it scales. She
You
said
took it
they
out of
should work
context. Can you
everywhere on the big
bring the whole
scale.
quote?
It's not out of context, dude.
Bring the whole
No,
quote, and
it's
we'll talk
not,
about it.
bro. It's ridiculous.
Bring the entire quote,
She
and we'll
said,
talk about it.
quote, Andrea Ghez, quote, laws should work on all scales. We can rule out Newton's law of gravity completely, end quote.
Oh, yeah, so there's part of the context. That's what I'm looking for. No, if you give me what she said before that, we could talk more about it intelligently. But yeah, we know that gravity in Newtonian dynamics, it does not work because we have no forces involved in an object that is falling. We can objectively observe that there are no forces acting on objects that fall and accelerate.
Red herring
He was
fallacy.
perplexed by that.
Yo,
So
can someone get Andrea
throughout,
Gez's quote up? Hold on, Zanick. Can we just get the quote up? You're just saying it's out of context. That's like classic. That's like classic tactic right there. You guys always just say that. Oh, it's out of context. You just immediately say that, regardless.
No, that I've heard this many times, and most of the things
You should have to pull it up and show how you're saying he's taking it out of context.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
he
I'm
brought
not
You guys are
pulling
taking
it up,
quote up.
out of context.
I'm at work.
He brought the quote up. I'm saying it's out of context because I know
Yeah,
that's
so
not
bring
what
it
she
up.
meant.
Back up your claim. Back up your claim. Bring it up and show how it's out of context.
So gravity
Can we just
is
get anyone
validated
to?
because
Hold on, Zanick. Zanick, hold on. Can we just get anyone to just bring it up real quick, just so we can read it? It doesn't matter who it is. Please, someone.
What's the name?
Andrea Ghez, Ghez.
Yeah, GH easy. I mean, it's just simple stuff, bro. Everyone knows it. This is why it gets so exhausting. Like even trying to have these conversations because the people that come in here and defend like the mainstream model, they do so poorly, so ignorantly, and so religiously. That's like kind of retarded.
Thank you for your Christian opinion.
This
Why
might
is that
be
not
the
Christian?
greatest opportunity. I'm
That was
sorry to
ironic.
interrupt. In being new to this platform, is there any way, like, I don't know the availability as far as my ability to post, like quotes, pictures, videos to the chat. Do I need like a certain amount of like time allowed on the app or anything like that, or is it just like a mod permission?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think you might have to have a certain role. I don't actually know what it is or anything about it.
Just
No
tap
But
the
worries.
yeah,
chat,
look,
bro.
this is all a very simple concept, guys. Okay, it's like it's well known. This is why it's very frustrating, right? Because you guys come in here and you misrepresent the model, right? And so then we have to go back and forth with you because you have like these like really overly simplified misrepresentations of the model that's kind of taught to the masses in like this pop sci propagandized way. And it's like you act like we have to like argue from within that paradigm that's objectively wrong, and it's such a waste of time because
What?
the true still man of your model is we do not currently have a working theory of gravity. We only have individual placeholders that are useful and effective on specific scales or in specific scenarios, right? Because that's the best that we can do. And the
It's
more
not
that we
that.
discover, the more that we discover, the more that it is shown definitively that our previous understanding is archaic and incorrect. Gravity is a perfect example of how the model is just not viable. Okay. And again, it doesn't work on the quantum scale. Actually, doesn't work on the local scale at times. And it doesn't work on the
Whoa, how does it
cosmological
not work on the
scale.
local scale at times? How's it not work on the local scale?
Well, I don't want to get into it because then I have to argue with you about C plus V, and you start trying to pretend
Can,
you understand it, and like
Yeah.
it doesn't even
It's
matter
funny, the guy
because
that
Dude, you absolutely
can
have to
I
throw out
please?
you have to throw out F equals ma completely if you want to believe in relativity because, like I said, with the
No,
math,
no, you don't. There's transforms
you're talking
everywhere.
about
with the
gravity.
mass,
Gravity is a force there. F equals ma is not dependent on
with
gravity.
accelerating math. No,
What's that?
I know it's not. I know it's not dependent. It's contradictory because when
It's
you
not
drop something here
contradictory.
on Earth,
stop interrupting.
relativity says when you drop something here on Earth, relativity says there's no force, and you have mass accelerating when you do that.
We're
Newton
talking,
said there should be a force there
well, there
because
is.
mass is accelerating.
When it hits the ground, there's a force. There's a proper force and a pseudo force. And we've already
But
gone
while
over
it's
that.
And
falling,
So we remember we're talking about the theory of
while
gravity.
it's falling, not
And that
after it hits. While it's
Jeremy,
falling, you have mass accelerating.
I know, but Jeremy, can you?
You're so disingenuous, dude. All
I'm
right. We'll
not,
talk,
Jeremy.
Zan.
I'm not.
Well,
I'm going to be very.
let me get in between
No,
this real quick.
I'm responding. Let me respond. I waited for him to kind of finish there, in a
no,
rude
you
way.
didn't. You interrupted the whole time.
You kinda
Let
waited,
me just
Zedek.
come on, guys. Let me just say, there's two things he's
Why do
talking
we
about.
let him speak here,
Both
bro?
are true. Hold.
We
Can I?
do want an echo chamber.
Becky, you weren't even
Echo
involved. Let me
chamber
just
is
finish
way
that.
better than this.
Just
No, hold
Can
on,
I
man. Stop. Everyone.
guys,
wait,
stop.
everybody.
Not
I just
you,
want to
bro.
say
Nah,
we're
man. Hold on
lucky
a second.
at the
No,
moment.
bro.
No.
No. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, just let Xana go. Go ahead. I'm good. I said what I said.
I think we'll pass.
I second that.
Hard pass.
I do second that.
That
On
third
another note,
carried.
Jeremy, your wildest dreams might be coming true very soon. We got the whole UFO thing going on in New York. You guys got universal basic income on the way. Who's your mayor? Like Kathy Hochul or something? She's talking about doing $300 a
Oh,
month.
That's nice. I could use that. That's $10 a day.
Before we move on to that, I just have to say, like, anyone objectively listening to this conversation that has been listening for a long time and intellectually, so many flat earthers are growing because they see exactly what Austin was talking about, and it's so blaringly obvious. And
Amen, brother.
it's amen to that. You know.
Can I respond to that?
What's there
Was
to
that
respond
your
to, dude?
response?
Yeah. Well, I
Was that
just
your
wanted
response?
to respond in the way that I
You
said.
want
He
to
wants to
rebut it, you mean?
contradict you.
What he just said. Yes. So, if
Well,
flat
you
Earth
don't think flat Earth is growing?
I don't know. I don't know. There's no way to
What do you
know.
mean you
because
don't know?
It's very difficult to say if a flat
He
Earth is
can't
growing
know
or if it's
things.
not
We
growing.
had this conversation earlier. He doesn't know anything.
There's no definitive data that flat Earth is growing or shrinking. It doesn't really matter which it
There's
is.
the dishonesty again, right? The disingenuity.
Yeah, I think you're just spoiling the conversation, man.
I'm just having a
Today,
conversation. You just accuse me of
also,
lying. Just accuse me of being
I guess
dishonest.
my mic is bad. I'll get muted again.
Okay, so here's the thing with the flat Earth.
It's his
As long
turn
as
to
you make
talk.
as long as you make no predictions, as long as you take no measurements, as long as you make no observations, as long as you learn nothing about the Earth, then you can stay
You
with
are sounding.
flat Earth.
Are you trying to
Obviously, that's
sound?
just everything that's just gone on then, yeah?
Okay, look, can we get some order, moderation? Moderation. Can we get some order in the room, please? Okay. First of all,
So
obviously, what
that
he
was
was saying was specifically. Stop interrupting me, please. I'm moderating. Okay. I was trying to help you, and then you just had to interrupt me. It's such a joke. Okay. Obviously, what he was saying was specifically designed to invoke a reaction, to provoke a reaction, and be inflammatory. It doesn't matter. You don't get to interrupt people on either side when they're talking. It's ridiculous. It causes audio chaos. Okay. So each person gets to speak, and then the next person gets to go. So please stop interrupting each other on both sides. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so I wanted to just mention that because when hold on a second. Sorry, BLB. Sorry about that.
It's okay, Red Cloud. You actually, there was a gentleman named Rakia about to go, and he's actually one that's done many measurements, many experiments. You made a bold claim saying that none of us have ever done any observations. That's why we're flat earthers, and I think this room can show that's not true.
I'm about to go to Antarctica to make an observation.
And you talk
man.
to people.
Such a clear example of how
about flat Earth. It's definitely wrong.
that was such a clear example of how pompous. Sorry.
Now you go ahead.
If Rakia's not going, I was just going to say that's such a clear example of how pompous these globe pushers are. Anyone that's on the fence or looking at it objectively, for them to say something like that, that is why. Like, I am new to this, and it is just blaringly obvious. Like, I didn't have a bias. I actually watched these debates, and I was like, I can't wait to watch this flat earther get owned. And then I just watched it objectively, and I was like, holy shit, I'm blown away by this because all of these things are so blaringly obvious. It's like, are they trying to get people to go away from the globe at this point? It's a strong possibility.
Well, okay, can I
for
answer?
real, though.
I didn't mean it. And Gio knows this. I'm not coming in here deliberately saying things to get a reaction. Gio knows this. I've been in here before. I've had good conversations with him. That was what I was saying is this. Because, by the way, I just want to point out that in the conversations I've had with Austin here, he's basically just said it's retarded and I'm a liar and I'm dishonest repeatedly. So I think it's fair, right? I didn't take it personally. I understand his position. So don't take my position as personal. I don't mean this personally. I don't have anything against Austin or Gio or anyone. All I'm saying is, when I asked Austin about the dome or about the container, right? I'm simply asking, what do you have to say about what is it? Tell us what your ideas are. And I can't get anyone to tell me what their ideas are.
I can give you an idea real quick.
But then you'll say,
answer that.
okay, then you'll say that you're doing scientific tests. What are you doing scientific tests about? The third thing I want to say, and then I'll shut up, is that Austin, please don't take this the wrong way, but you had to be paid. You had to get a free trip to Antarctica to go there, man. You can't say that you could have organized a GoFundMe or whatever and done this trip 5,
my
6,
God,
7
bro.
years ago,
All
whatever,
right,
right?
dude. All right, dude. All right,
Come
dude.
on.
Enough with
Sad,
the
Just
bro.
meta shit, dude.
let's be honest.
Nah, dude.
All right.
Let's talk about some
I
scientists,
was
man.
gonna
Now you're
answer your
getting
first
personal.
question, but
Yeah,
I'm good
well,
after hearing the third
I
point
was
that you
I was
made.
called
I'm
dishonest too.
good. Yeah.
£35,000.
All right,
That's what
guys.
it costs.
Wait, can I
No,
respond?
Martin, chill.
Can I
Yeah, go
respond?
ahead. I was addressing Austin specifically. Yeah, go ahead.
So the reason that I would never do that is, for one, I know this isn't particularly conclusive as it pertains to the subject. It is interesting. I think it's very valuable observational data, but you would have to actually be able to maybe try to circumnavigate and/or private explore would be beneficial. But I would never ask my followers to crowdfund something that expensive when there's a very strong possibility you could go down there and it just be heavily overcast where you can't see the sun at all. I would never, in good faith, ask my followers to do that. Okay. Especially when I know it's not conclusive. Now, I, of course, have funded out of pocket myself tons of observations and tests. I funded out of pocket myself an entire tour where we went around the entire United States explaining this subject and speaking out against the pandemic lockdown and doing observations and tests all along the coast and bodies of water all throughout the United States. So it's kind of laughable to suggest I don't do tests or whatever. Yeah, you're right. Someone else had to pay for me to go here because I would never put that burden on my followers and ask them to raise like 40K and then me come down here and it possibly just be fruitless. In addition, I've still had to spend tons of money to go do this. Okay, it's been extremely inconvenient for me in many ways. So, okay.
I don't even know why you're entertaining the guy's question, bro. I mean, it just didn't really seem like a very good one. Like the first question was great, but everything that followed up after that was just like, dude, it completely just discredited everything that the guy had to say, in my opinion.
It wasn't even
And
a
what the, and
question.
this
It
is the
was
other
an
thing. Let me ask
insult.